This is CBS 6 This Morning Weekend.
Yeah, hard to believe, but we're already 1/6 of the way through 2025, and we're starting off March with a day that's going to feel a lot warmer than we began in February. Good Saturday morning to you on this first day of March. I'm Greg McQuaid, along with my pal and my buddy Mike Stone, who I've missed, and we are marching our way towards the months.
Yeah, we're 1 month
Can't
closer.
wait.
Yeah, so we finished February.
Yes.
It was the 8th wettest February on record. You take the rain and all the ice and snow melted down. We had about 5.5 inches of precip.
8th?
Yep. And we're actually going to have dry weather this weekend. Today's going to turn windy, and it's going to be warmer today, but tomorrow's going to be significantly colder.
Oh, significantly. Because walking out today, Mike, I'll tell you, there was not really a bite in the air. It was actually pleasant.
Yeah, we have a front that's approaching the area. We're going to have some of these clouds, like you see behind me at the diamond. They're just going to stream by from time to time this morning into this afternoon. We're starting off right now with temperatures in the 40s, although it is 38 up in Stanton and 39 in Danville. Most of us are in the low to mid to upper 40s. And here's the cold front off towards the west. There's some batches of clouds ahead of that. That front's going to come through this afternoon. It's going to pick up some gusty winds, some gusts over 30 miles an hour. But ahead of it, we have the potential to hit 70 degrees. We'll at least be in the upper 60s across the metro through early afternoon. Then the temps will drop later on today. Some of those gusts over 30 miles an hour, and we have a red flag warning for fire danger today. But behind the front, temperatures are a lot cooler. Tomorrow we're going to be in the 40s. But then we start seeing some warmer air come back for the week ahead. But with it may come some severe thunderstorms. We'll talk about that in our 7-day forecast coming up. Gregory.
Michael, thanks so much. 6:01 right now. The funeral arrangements have now been released for the 2 Virginia Beach police officers shot and killed last weekend during a traffic stop. Memorial services for Cameron Gervin and Christopher Resoth will happen together at Rock Church starting at 2 p.m. The service will be live streamed on the Virginia Beach Police Facebook page. Attorney General Jason Miyares plans to attend the memorial service. There will be a processional and recessional route. Police say that information will be released at a later date. Earlier this week, we told you the Virginia Department of Education sent to Chester Daycare a letter saying they intended to revoke their ability to operate. Now, there's another notice. Melissa Hippolyte learned another state agency is issuing these violations to the daycare that shed more light on what happened. That led to a 3-year-old running into a busy road.
The Virginia Department of Social Services cited Fortress of God Child Care with a number of violations. The inspector found a 17-year-old was supposed to be supervising the child when they wandered into this busy road. Inside Fortress of God Child Care on February 21st, a 17-year-old was alone and supposed to be watching 4 children ages 3 to 5 when they left the kids unsupervised for about 6 minutes. That's according to these violations listed on the Virginia Department of Social Services website. It was during that time that a 3-year-old left the daycare and ran into oncoming traffic on West 100 Road before being rescued by driver Latoya Parham.
And I see a toddler in the middle of the intersection, and he has a toy in his hand, and he's just walking in between cars, kind of, and my heart dropped. I jumped out and I ran to him because the oncoming traffic had stopped at a light, but they just started to move and they couldn't see him. He was so tiny, they couldn't see him, but once they saw me, they were able to stop.
According to DSS, the 17-year-old did not know the child had left. Virginia code states anytime a daycare staff member is under the age of 18, they have to be under the supervision of an adult staff member. While on site, the DSS inspector found a number of repeat staffing violations. Among them, the inspector noted 2 infants sleeping in a classroom unsupervised and encountered a person who was not a staff member, but who was supervising 3 infants alone. When the inspector spoke to that person, they reported that they stopped in to help due to the incident, but did not work there. The administrator of the daycare, Monique Eady, told the inspector that many people showed up at the center to offer support, and she did not know who that person was. Andrea Dungy, who pulled her daughter from the daycare in December of last year after filing a complaint with the state, says the violations do not surprise her.
I never knew what staff was there. It was a constant, oh, this is her new teacher, this is her new teacher. I saw 2 many times kids running in and out of rooms.
We sent an email to Edie asking her if she wanted to respond to the violations. She sent us back a letter that seems to be a complaint of sorts that she intended to send or did send to DSS and the Virginia Department of Education. In it, she says she started her daycare to offer hope to parents who were struggling and kept her prices between $50 to $150 a week. She said she allowed some children to attend for free. Edie says she felt like the DSS inspector targeted her and had little regard for her personal story and struggles. She claims her rights were violated and an abuse of authority occurred. The daycare has to submit a plan of correction to DSS by March 6th, but in her email, Monique Edie said that she'd actually closed the daycare. Chesterfield police are still investigating. In Chester, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.
6:05 right now. Petersburg is one step closer to a nearly $1.5 billion casino development. The City Council and Planning Commission unanimously approved final zoning changes for the live casino resort at a special meeting. That means construction on the multi-phase project can now begin. The casino will span 92 acres near the intersection of Wagner Road and Interstate 95. Once wrapped up, the casino and hotel will offer more than 450,000 square feet of gaming, hotel, and dining space, more than 75,000 square feet of meeting and convention space, an upscale 200-room hotel featuring 20 suites, resort pool and fitness center, and a 4,000-seat state-of-the-art entertainment venue. It's expected to bring $2.8 billion in economic stimulus to the region and $240 million in tax revenues to the city of Petersburg alone. Groundbreaking is set for the middle of this month. Hey, you know, we're just 34 days away from the final opening day at the Diamond, so why not get a head start on one of the Central Virginia's favorite springtime traditions? This morning marks the return of Nutsy's Block Party from 10 to 1 at the Diamond. Flying Squirrels will be celebrating the selling of single game tickets for the upcoming season, filled with vendors, fire trucks, and a mascot autograph session. And you'll also get a chance to get onto the season ticket wait list for next year with the opening of CarMax Park. As we mentioned, opening day this year is set for Friday, April 4th. It is proof that there's always something new to discover in our world. When we return, Mike and I will tell you about the plant that's just now discovered in a national park. Brand new, added to the list. Mike, how's our weather looking, my friend?
Well, Greg, we have a few clouds outside right now, and we were talking about the squirrels at the Diamond. We currently have temperatures in the low 40s, may hit 70 today, but tomorrow's going to be a lot colder. We'll talk about that coming up next.
All right, Mike, thanks so much. 6:07, taking a bite of the Big Apple as that beautiful sunrise right there. Look at that. Chrysler Building, Empire State Building, Midtown. Man, that's a gorgeous shot. Come on back. Mike's forecast after this. Hey, it's 6:10. Would you look at this? Staff members at Big Bend National Park, they discover a brand new plant. They spotted several of these kind of odd-looking plants on desert rocks in a remote part of the park. Genetic analysis revealed not only is it a new species, it's also a genus. It's the same family as daisies.
Hey kids, Parliament, Big Ben. Researchers named it Ovicula biradiate. Ovicula is the Latin for tiny sheep, for the fuzz that resembles wood covering it. And the other half of the word references the two ray petals in each flower. They nicknamed it the Woolly Devil, my nickname for Greg when his hair's all poofy. This spring, scientists will study details of its life cycle and try to identify its pollinators.
I love when you call me Woolly Devil.
Let me try to identify your pollinators. Well, I tell you what, we're going to have a windy day today. It's going to be fairly warm. We'll get close to 70 degrees, and then tomorrow there may be some spots that don't get out of the lower 40s. So
big swing.
Yeah, so if you want some warm temperatures, today is your day. And then tomorrow, it's going to be significantly colder. Just for a couple days, though. We're going to warm back up by midweek. Right now at the airport, it's 42 degrees. There's a little deck of clouds streaming on by. We'll have some of those decks from time to time today. Winds are out of the south at 9. Gives us a wind chill of 37 degrees. The humidity, relatively speaking, is going to be pretty low today. And we're going to have warm temperatures and the gusty winds. So we have a red flag warning in effect until 7 o'clock. So we already have a regulation where we can't have any open burning until 4 o'clock through through April 30th. But anything that's outside today is going to catch fire and spread very quickly. A lot of 40s across the region currently. And as we widen the picture, here's the cold front just west of the mountains. Notice on the other side of it, temperatures in the teens, 20s, and 30s. And that air is going to be pulling in through our area late today, tonight, and it's going to stick around into Sunday and Monday. There will be a couple clouds as the front comes through from time to time, but that should be about it. So we'll have a mix of clouds and sun today. And by 1 o'clock or so, we should be in the upper 60s and low 70s across central and southeastern Virginia. But notice to the north and west where the front comes through earlier, we'll get in the low 60s. And then as we go throughout the afternoon, some more clouds, temperatures start dropping a little bit. And by this evening, we'll be down to the 30s and 40s by 10 o'clock. There could be a couple sprinkles down by Norfolk tonight. And then for tomorrow, we start off with temps in the 20s, and then we rise up only into the low and mid 40s. So the strong cold front comes through today, some gusts over 30 miles an hour. High pressure builds in behind it. Nice weather for Sunday and Monday. Chilly, but lots of sunshine. On Tuesday, we'll start to see an increase in clouds, and then the next storm system will bring us a chance of thunderstorms on Wednesday. And the timing of this front and some of the computer models showing some dynamics will be in place. We may actually have some severe thunderstorms on Wednesday. So that's still quite a few days away, but at least we have the potential for maybe some strong to severe thunderstorms, especially with some very strong wind gusts on Wednesday. We'll talk more about that the next few days, but in the meantime, close to 70 today. Chilly for tonight, tomorrow night, and into Monday. Highs in the 40s, lows in the 20s, some teens possible north and west. Up to 60 Tuesday, near 70 Wednesday with a chance of strong storms. Then a little bit cooler for the second half of the week.
10 days of Virginia wines and whiskey and food and workshops and unlimited samplings right here at the Main Street Station. I'm Antoinette Essa. We'll tell you all about Virginia Wine Expo. That's coming up.
.616, welcome back. Here's some news that's sure to bring a smile to some folks and a glass in your hand. The Virginia Wine Expo is back, and Antoinette Essa has a sampling for us in this morning's A-List.
Virginia's premier curated wine and food event is back beginning February 28th. Cheryl Felker is the event's wine curator.
Virginia Wine Expo showcases wines and whiskeys and foods, smoked foods from all over Richmond, and pretty much the wines are international.
And starting March 2nd, you can enjoy some of these wines at local restaurants and venues during the Expo's signature dinners.
We have ML Steak that are going to do a signature dinner, a wine and cognac dinner. We have Bacchanalia, that's going to be out at the historic mill at Fine Creek in Powhatan, and that's going to feature A to Z Wineworks wines for wine dinner. And then we also have something called Tequila Bamba, and that's going to be on Thursday night at Casa del Barco in Short Pump.
But that's just the beginning, and it's not just wine. There's a popular event called Smoked happening at the Dewey Godwell Center.
And that is a whiskey, wine, and smoked food experience. So people that come will be able to taste about 80 whiskeys, distilled spirits. We have wines, about 28 different wines that will be featuring international and a lot of Virginia wines. And the smoked foods all come from Richmond restaurants.
The fun doesn't stop there. The walk-around grand tastings at Main Street Station is an event Felker calls a sip and shop extravaganza.
You can come and you can taste all kinds of specialty foods like cheeses, nuts, olive oil tasting. We have artisan pies and cakes. We're going to have also 16 distilleries here that they can taste and purchase whiskeys from if they would like. And we have about 35 Virginia wineries that will be here showcasing their wines.
For those looking to expand their knowledge, the Virginia Wine Expo offers masterclass seminars.
We have classes for our regions of emphasis this year, which is going to be Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. So we have Bartholomew Broadbent, who is a world-famous importer, and he'll be teaching 2 of the classes. And we have a sake class this year, which is something we haven't done.
While it's all about wine, spirits, and food, the Virginia Wine Expo will once again support Richmond Metropolitan Habitat for Humanity.
Any donation we get goes into our home building process, which building houses is definitely one of the more costly things for us. So any donation we get that helps offset that goes into keeping the home affordable for our future homeowners for the long run.
Habitat's mission brings people together to build homes, communities, and hope.
We're grateful for any type of partnership that we can have that gets us involved in the community in a different way and helps expose people to the mission of Richmond Habitat.
And you can join them for 10 days, 345 wines, 140 distilled spirits from 9 countries and states, and 24 events, February 28th through March 9th in Richmond.
It's just a wonderful experience to taste wines, to taste whiskeys, to really explore the foods of Richmond too. Just a wonderful experience.
And for more information on the Virginia Wine Expo, you can visit our website. That's WTVR.com. Antoinette Essa at Main Street Station, CBS 6 News.
Thanks, Antoinette. At 6:20, we have a clear to partly cloudy sky outside right now. There's a little deck of clouds near and northwest of Richmond. Temperatures are primarily in the 40s right now. We're heading up into the upper 60s to around 70 today. We'll have some gusty winds over 30 miles an hour. Mix of clouds and sunshine. Tonight, though, starts turning colder. It'll still be a little bit breezy overnight with a low of 25. And then tomorrow, a high of only 45 degrees. Colder Monday morning, some teens and 20s with a high of 48. 60 on Tuesday. We could have some strong to severe thunderstorms Wednesday with a high near 70. It'll be a windy day regardless. And then a little bit cooler towards the second half of the week with highs in the 50s to around 60 degrees. Gregory.
Was I a little premature switching out my closet? I put away all of the winter stuff.
Well, the thing is, if you looked at the past couple of weeks, that gave you an indication. It was like up, down, and that's going to continue this week.
I should have listened to you more. We'll be right back.
CBS 6 Sports, sponsored by Toyota.
Good evening, everyone. Despite their current winning streak and the tiebreaker they hold for the A-10 regular season title, VCU head coach Ryan Odom doesn't quite feel like his team's margin for error is all that great. Most NCAA projections still have the A-10 as a one-bid league, meaning the Rams still have some work to do in the event of an unplanned stumble between now and Selection Sunday. Tonight's business, though, taking care of Davidson at home. First half, Luke Bamboye gets free underneath, off of the miss, and gets the put back. He had 17, a career high for him. Then Jack Clark got a stop ball, gets behind the screen and sends one in. He had 18, a 16-1 run to start the game for the Rams. Connor Cochera tried to keep Davidson close. He gets the hoop on the foul. He had 18 to lead the Wildcats, but this was all VCU. Joe Bamasil with the drive. He had 9. The Rams cruise 80-56. It is their 8th straight win. They are now 15-0 at home this year. Virginia State taking on the defending champs from Lincoln in the CIAA men's semifinals up in Baltimore. Jacob Cooper gets credit for the hoop on the goaltend. He had 17 and 9 rebounds, and they led by as many as 10, but Lincoln comes back. But here Cleveland with the putback, 2 of his 17. The Lions actually led by 2, but Virginia State counters with Jared White. The 3 from the wing, he had 14. The Trojans advance 66-57, and they will play for the title up in Baltimore tomorrow night. At Atlee tonight, the Raiders hosting Verina for the boys Region 4B championship. First half, Atlee's Will Hopkins, 3 of 3, and the Raiders led by 6. Verina answers with Caleb Weish. Gets the floater to go. He had 20 to leave the Blue Devils. And then Caleb Straughter, the 3 from the corner. He had 17. Blue Devils led by 3 at the half, but Atlee comes back. Knox Axel with the drive, gets it to go. He had 23. Hopkins again had a game-high 29. Raiders win 66-59. It is the first regional title in school history. LC Bird boys on the road taking on Albemarle for the Region 5C title, a rematch from last year's regional final, which was won by the Skyhawks, so the Patriots had revenge on their mind. Makai Ragland with a 3, and the Patriots led by 11. Bird comes back. Jaden Peterson, the hoop and the foul underneath. Bird within 5. They got to within a bucket, but Jalen Jackson hits the drive for Albemarle, and they go on to win 53-41. Bird will travel to Riverside for the state quarterfinals next week. The LC Bird girls also on the road taking on William Fleming down in Roanoke for their regional title. This was the Essence Cushenberry show. She hits a 3 early and then gets another hoop. The Skyhawks led by 9 after 1. They were up 10 at the half, and Bird would go on to win their regional title tonight, 55-50 over the Colonels. They will stay stay at home for the state quarterfinals next week. That is the latest from the Toyota Sports Desk.
This is CBS 6 This Morning Weekend.
It's a story of resilience, creativity, and a second chance at life. Meet the Richmond woman who pushed her limits on the pavement, never imagining that her biggest challenge wouldn't be a race, but her own heart. And never letting any setbacks keep you from reaching your dreams. We're going to preview my latest. I have a story where an artist who's overcome physical deficiencies has become renowned and in-demand work in artistry. And we're looking at another day with potentially mild temperatures across central Virginia. But as you listen to Mike Stone, you know it's going to be changing. The incomparable Michael Latifah Stone joining us now with the forecast.
Well,
yes, sir.
This is going to be kind of two different days this weekend. Today we're going to be close to 70. It's going to be windy. Tomorrow we're going to have a lot of sunshine, but temperatures are going to be at least about 20, 25 degrees colder.
It's still early March.
It is, yeah. Yeah, you know, people are saying, oh, are we done with the snow? March is a really weird month. We could still get walloped with a snowstorm. Doesn't look like it's going to happen the next week or so, but we actually have a lot going on for the week ahead with the temperature changes. That's how it looks downtown right now from our rooftop cam. There's a little deck of mid and high level clouds streaming on by. Sunrise is about 10 minutes away or so, and we're going to see a mix of clouds and sunshine today. Outside currently, we have a lot of areas that are in the 40s. Although it is 39 over in Danville, we have some low to mid to upper 40s just about everywhere else. And in terms of what's going on to our west, there's a strong cold front in the state of West Virginia, and behind that, temperatures are in the low 40s and then 30s, then 20s and teens. So that's the direction in which our air is coming from. So we're going to get significantly colder over the next 24 to 36 hours. For today, though, we're looking for high temperatures pretty close to 70 degrees. If we don't hit 70, we'll be around 68, 69 or so. And then for this evening, temperatures fall off pretty quickly. That front comes through early this afternoon, and then temperatures start diving later this afternoon into this evening. In fact, this time tomorrow morning, we will have some widespread 20s. It's going to stay cold into Monday, but then it's going to warm up for the middle of the week. But with it, we may have a pretty interesting storm that gives us severe weather. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Greg?
All right, Michael, thanks so much. It's 6:31 right now. Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer among women and new moms in the United States, affecting any woman at any age. As we put a bow on American Heart Month, our Janine Samuels and photojournalist Cole Pearson share the extended version of their story on Darlene Anita Scott, a VSU professor, medal-winning runner, and marathon coach who turned a shocking diagnosis into a new way to move forward, finding strength through creativity and power in her own voice.
Called Sisters. It's just a sketch of two women hugging.
This VSU assistant professor of English.
I want to teach myself how to draw more than one face or one individual structure.
Is trying her hand at freehand sketching.
I'm always trying to learn something and make myself better.
A passion drawn early in Darlene Anita Scott's life.
So I always saw my mother being creative in that way. I think I imitated her a bit.
Though outside of art,
I was the cousin and the sister who probably was going to be last picked for good reason.
But as an adult, she ran into an unexpected adventure.
A friend suggested that I run a 5K with her, and I was like, you know, I don't like running. And interestingly enough, before I ever ran a 5K, I ran a half marathon, and the rest is history.
A random run-in with a running club.
I fell in love with it.
Resulted in an immediate love affair.
Physically, it changed my body, but mostly I saw my strength, and seeing that strength gained this confidence that I didn't know I lacked. Ran, I think, 4 marathons in my first year of running marathons. My goal was to run a 50-miler, but I never got there.
In 2016,
I went out for a run. I was like, you're just out of condition, but this is different. I remember knowing it was different than out of condition.
Darlene struggled to keep pace for close to 6 months.
It was a really quick transition between me figuring out something's not quite right and then going to the doctor and then finding out something absolutely was not right.
After a month of tests, the results hit hard.
I'm looking at your results and you have heart failure. I said, excuse me? Yeah, I needed a moment. I don't think the excuse me was I didn't hear you. I think the excuse me was I need a moment to process all of this, so I'll just say something to buy me some time. Excuse me? And he said, yeah, you have heart failure. I didn't want to tell my parents. How am I going to say those words to them? Because I don't want them to worry about me. And I think out of everything, that was the hardest part of the diagnosis. There was definitely fear because when I heard the words heart failure, I always heard them associated with death. So I was like, wow, I'm too young to be dying, and aren't I?
According to the American Heart Association, the average age when women have their first coronary event is 72. Darlene was only 41.
The next steps were medication and that I was supposed to stop running. I said, so you said you want me to slow down on the running. And I said, so how much we talking, 5 miles? And he said, I mean none.
Darlene's biggest challenge now wouldn't be a race, but her own heart.
At that point, I started to want to know, okay, now we're on medication. Let's figure out why this is happening.
After traveling hundreds of miles to see multiple cardiologists,
it was frustrating because I was like, we don't have time for me to beg you to listen to me. You know, I'm on borrowed time.
Still, no answers until Dr. Kayer Shaw.
If we're talking about patients age 40 and under that are diagnosed with heart disease, I would say that's about 10 to 15% of my cardiology practice.
Section Chief at VCU Poly Heart Center.
As far as the percentage of patients I see who are that athletic, it's very small. Anytime you see a young person with a weakened heart, it does prompt you to ask more questions about why this happened.
Each question eventually led to the answer.
Sarcoidosis is a systemic disease, meaning it can affect multiple organs throughout the body.
The cause of this rare chronic inflammatory disease is still a mystery.
In Darlene's case, by the time I had met her, her sarcoid had affected her heart, weakened the heart function, and was causing arrhythmias.
I was in danger of cardiac arrest. He said, I want you to wear a life vest. A life vest is an external defibrillator.
A 24/7 addition to her wardrobe.
It's a constant reminder of what you're going through.
After various medications, a failed ablation, and other procedures, Darlene had an ICD implanted in June. And a month later, found her footing again.
On July 6th, that morning, I woke up as early as I could. And I still had the big bandage on, and I still had the sling. And I went running like one-armed. And I was like, I'm ready to get back out there.
How did that feel?
Amazing. That one of the most amazing runs I've had. And I think I ran almost 5 miles. And I was like, oh, yes, I'm back.
Heart disease forced Darlene to pause the thing that carried her forward. But in that stillness, she found something else.
Good thing about the art was that for those times that I would usually spend Sunday morning out running,
strength through her art.
I was able to devote that time to creating.
And purpose in raising her voice.
I was diagnosed with heart failure at the time that I was training for my 7th marathon, what would have been my 7th marathon.
Reminding women that heart failure wears no uniform.
So I want to say thank you to all of you who are here, who believe in this cause.
Advocacy that earned her recognition at this year's American Heart Association Go Red for Women luncheon.
I've been very public facing with this only because I think people should know. Why not you? So if it is you, then what do you do with it? And I hope that I'm a good example of what you can do with it.
That was Janine Samuels reporting. His colorful canvases are turning heads and hanging on the walls and homes all across Richmond. In a preview of my latest I Have a Story, I'd like to introduce you to the artist who's not letting physical limitations prevent him from creating art and spreading lots of joy. Bukuru Nyandwi draws and paints with a marker or brush pinched between his cheek and shoulder. The 33-year-old Tanzania native was born without arms or legs. Bukuru, who immigrated to the U.S. in 2008, started drawing animals in the dirt when he was a teen. Bukuru has been a member of Milk River Arts for a decade now. The Richmond-based nonprofit helps 8 artists living with disabilities. Recently, Bukuru had his first solo art show. Every one of his pieces sold. Now there is a waiting list for Bukuru's original artwork.
Bukuru,
yes.
How much do you love painting and creating art?
I love very much. I love to do what I am doing as artist. I love it.
When you first see him paint or draw, you're surprised. You're surprised by what you see. I dream big dreams for Bukuru, and he will make them come true.
Coming up in my I Have a Story, meet the artist whose creativity and inspiration can be found in every sketch and stroke. My full story ahead in our next hour. You don't want to miss it. 6:39 right now. Meanwhile, we've got the man whose forecast can be considered the highest brow of art, Mike Stone. Mike?
I couldn't even listen to that with a straight face my own self there, Greg. Well, we have the sun starting to rise across the area. That's how it looks up in Doswell. We have a little deck of clouds right now. It's going to be a windy and warm day today. Tomorrow, it's going to be colder. We'll talk about that coming up next.
Mike, I'll tell you, I've seen your stick figures, and you can draw like no one else.
I draw a cold front with those really nice little swoops and dives.
We go to New London Harbor Cam at New London, Connecticut, right there in the Long Island Sound and on the Thames River in New England. Come on back. Mike's forecast after this.
And welcome back. Just about 6:43 here. Sun's been up for a couple minutes. That's how it looks over at Richmond International. We have a little deck here of some mid and high level clouds streaming on by. And we'll have that from time to time today to mix in with the sunshine. Our normal high is 55 degrees, but we're going to be around 70 today. The normal low is 33. We're running quite a bit above that as well. Sun rose at 6:40. It'll set tonight at 6:03. And we finished February, the 8th wettest February on record, with almost 5.5 inches of liquid precip. That's rain, any melted down ice and snow. There's a red flag warning in effect for our entire area today. That goes until 7 o'clock tonight. We'll have highs close to 70 today. We'll have some wind gusts over 30 miles an hour and low relative humidity. Now, there's a burn ban before 4 p.m. through April 30th, but just a reminder about that today, because anything that starts or sparks will spread very quickly today with the warm weather and the gusty winds. Here's the cold front to the north and west. It's a lot colder behind it. That's the air that's coming in for tonight, tomorrow night, and Monday. But ahead of it, we're going to have a warm southwesterly wind until that front comes through this afternoon, and that's going to warm us up. Right now, it's not too bad. Temperatures are running at least a few degrees above normal for this point of the year. We have some temps in the 40s, although it is 39 over in Danville. But Stanton, which was, I think, 38, 39 last hour, has jumped up to 45. So you can see the effect of that southwesterly wind coming in. And there's a little deck of clouds kind of moving through central and northern Virginia right now. High temperatures today will make it up into the low 60s to the far north and west, some low 70s to the southeast, and the metro will be in the upper 60s and low 70s. For tonight, we drop down into the 20s. And then for tomorrow, it's going to be cold with highs between about 40 and 45 for much of the area, a few upper 40s south and west. And then going into Sunday night, Monday morning, even colder, low 20s across the metro, a few teens possible to the north and west. So pretty chilly for Sunday and Monday. Then we shoot back up close to 70 on Wednesday. Then another cold front will take us down, but not quite as much for the end of the week. High pressure gives us nice weather for tomorrow and Monday. We cloud up Tuesday, and then the storm system will bring us a good chance of some thunderstorms on Wednesday. Without the storm system, well, without the thunderstorms, we're still going to have some gusts possibly over 40 miles an hour. But with the cold front approaching, we could have some severe thunderstorms with higher gusts. We're going to talk more about that the next few days. Behind that front, a little bit cooler, some 50s to around 60 for the end of the week. Greg.
Okay, Michael, thank you so much. The investigation into the death of a Hollywood icon goes on. What officials are now saying about the discovery of Gene Hackman's body to help create a timeline of events, and one potential cause of death officials say has likely been ruled out. In a contentious meeting between President Trump and Ukraine President Zelensky, what the fallout could show about the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia. 6:48, welcome back. The Vatican says Pope Francis suffered a sudden episode of respiratory difficulty on Friday and was put on a breathing machine. The episode was complicated by vomiting, some of which the Pope ingested. A Vatican source tells CNN that Francis is not intubated, but he is wearing a mask. The Vatican notes he remained alert and oriented at all times, but is not considered out of the woods yet. That source also says doctors expect to know more about his condition in the next 24 to 48 hours. Here at home, authorities say data from actor Gene Hackman's pacemaker shows he was likely dead for 9 days before the bodies of he and his wife were found at their New Mexico home. Santa Fe County Sheriff says the pacemaker shows Hackman's last event was recorded February 17th. Hackman and his wife, Betsy, along with their dog, were found dead this week in circumstances officials deemed suspicious enough to warrant a thorough investigation. The cause of death remains unknown. The pair did not show any external trauma, and there were no immediate signs of foul play. The pair is also testing negative for carbon monoxide, likely ruling that out as a cause of death. An Oval Office argument between President Trump and Ukraine's President Zelensky on Friday is rippling across the globe, with questions about continued American support for Ukraine and efforts to end its 3-year-old war with Russia. Bradley Blackburn has more on the moment and the reaction.
At the White House Friday, the meeting started with a handshake and a familiar scene with two presidents sitting side by side in the Oval Office. But in front of cameras, the conversation, including Vice President J.D. Vance, turned.
You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Did you say what problems we have?
I have been to...
Come once.
Zelensky argued Russia's Vladimir Putin can't be trusted to uphold a ceasefire and that Russian aggression poses a global risk.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position.
The extraordinary rift upended plans to sign a deal to give the U.S. access to Ukrainian minerals. Zelensky was told to leave the White House.
That was not a man that wanted to make peace. And I'm only interested if he wants to end the bloodshed.
Complete, utter disaster.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said damage to the relationship may be permanent.
What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
But across Europe, leaders posted messages of support for Ukraine and Zelensky.
This is going to weaken the United States' credibility when it comes to dealing with alliances in the world.
Zelensky later posted on X, "Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that." Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
6:51 right now, and a reminder you can keep up to date on all your local and national and international stories by visiting WTVR.com or downloading the CBS 6 app. What do you get when you mix an alligator with a golf club? Well, you at least get a great piece of video. We'll tell you where this standoff happened. Spoiler, it's Florida, and why the golfer-gator matchup was poetic connection. But first, for some animals a little lower in the food chain, here's Mike Goldberg with Pause for Pets.
Good morning. Thistle is a 3-year-old sweet and handsome cat who is equally playful and affectionate. He's adoptable from the Richmond SPCA. He's still working on gaining his confidence and can be a little startled by loud noises and fast movements. When he's comfortable, he loves to get ear scratches and rub against his favorite people and things. Thistle is still young and loves to play, so he would love an owner who is excited to play with him as well as find other ways to entertain him. He's a fun cat who has a lot of fun and love to offer with anyone willing to take things at his pace and give him the comfort he needs. You can visit Thistle today at the Richmond SPCA or send an email to adopt@richmondspca.org. I'm Mike Goldberg with this morning's Pause for Pets.
Now, from CBS 6, the Weather Authority, meteorologist Mike Stone.
It's 6:55. Look at that. The sun's up. We have a little bit of cloudiness across parts of the area. They'll be with us off and on. Temperatures right now are in the 40s, but we're heading up close to 70 today. And it's March, so our normal high by month's end hits 65. The normal low gets up to 42. It's been as hot as 94, cold as 10. Normally get about 4 inches of liquid precip, and the 30-year average of snowfall is around an inch. We get 72 minutes of daylight. We we switch the clocks forward 1 hour next Sunday, and spring hits us on March 20th, astronomically. 70 today, 25 tonight, 45 tomorrow, 24 tomorrow night, 48 on Monday, but then we're back up to 60 Tuesday and around 70 Wednesday. 70 is going to be a windy and warm day, but we could have some severe thunderstorms. So we're going to talk more about that the next few days.
All right, Mike, thanks so much. 6:56 right now. Normally when we describe something like gator-on-gator violence, it sounds like something out of a David Attenborough documentary or Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Marlon Perkins.
But down in Palm Beach, Florida, it became a little bit more complex. During Thursday's opening round of the PGA Cognizant Classic, look at this. Billy Horschel was rudely interrupted by a gator while sizing up his iron shot.
That kind of almost looked like a tag you're it. So Horschel decided to politely reason with the gator with one of his clubs. It looks like maybe it's a 7-iron. Eventually, the gator decided it wasn't worth the trouble and retreated back into his pond, back in his crib, if you will. Now, the beautiful irony out of all of this is that as far as where he went to college, Horschel is a proud, you guessed it, Florida Gator.
That really is one of the hazards that you really have to take into consideration when you're playing golf in Florida.
That was just interesting, though. There was kind of the thing, and then the Gators were like, all right, see ya.
Just don't touch me. Don't touch me. I say that to him all the time. Hey, it was Gil Scott-Heron who once sang, "Home is where the garden is," or something like that. Hey, regardless, Antoinette S. is going to be joining us live from a jacuzzi? What? She's in the jacuzzi. She's at this weekend's Richmond Home and Garden Show. She's living it and loving the life.
And she's waving like royalty.
Like princess and queen.